The great state of Tennessee, member of the Judiciary, Finance, and Commerce and Transportation Committees. She's also running to be Tennessee's next governor. Talk to me about leadership in this moment and what it takes for Democrats to embrace some.
Harris, what we need is for Democrats to realize they own this, and the American people know that they own this shutdown. It is time for them to stop using the American people, TSA workers, federal law enforcement as pawns in their game. They continue to try to put illegal aliens before U.S. citizens, and the American people are tired of this. The TSA agents and all the other federal agencies, FEMA, the Coast Guard, Homeland Security investigations, they deserve their paycheck. They are out there working. The Secret Service deserves their paycheck. So the Democrats need to stop this. But here is what people need to remember, Harris. The Democrats have said their goal was to defund federal law enforcement and abolish ICE. They have told that left-wing base they would find a way to do that. This is how they think they're doing it, and they're using the American people and TSA agents as who they're going after. They're the collateral damage. It is unseemly, and you're right. They own this. They need to stop it, and they need to act like an adults and come to the table and vote to defund DHS. Then if they want to go talk about ICE and other things, fine. But this had been negotiated as a bipartisan agreement, and the Democrats changed their mind because they want to defund law enforcement and abolish ICE.
Yeah, look, this failed for them last time. The White House and both chambers of government are Republican right now. But in this vote, this test vote, you need 60. So the Democrats would have to step up. They couldn't do it last time, almost on the same topic. The president has even given, Senator, some of what they asked for. The top of the leadership column in the Department of Homeland Security, Kristi Noem, is gone. What more do they want? And if it's to fund something that was already funded by the big, beautiful law, what are they asking? Like ICE and Border Patrol were funded by that.
That's exactly right. They're funded. So the fight isn't over that. But Harris, defund federal law enforcement, abolish ICE, have open borders, allow illegal aliens to vote. That is what they want. They would rather protect people illegally in the country than protect U.S. citizens. This is a dangerous game, and they should come back to the table and vote for the bill they negotiated, and they've changed their mind. It is like the bully in the sandbox that says, I'm going to take all my toys unless I get everything I want. It is childish. It is dangerous. It is a disservice to the American people and a disservice to every federal worker that is in the Department of Homeland Security.
Some of them vote Democrat. I don't think they're gaming this out. And look, in your state, for the Democrat voters, I know that those lawmakers all across the country, those lawmakers that they can call and get to via email, they are letting them know. I mean, this is political dynamite, really, for Democrats at this point.
It is.
It is.
It is, because when you're trying to get people on a plane and planes in the air that are safe and FEMA responding to storms, you need this. You need Homeland Security investigations out here picking up these criminal, illegal aliens that are killing people or harming people and deporting them, getting them out of the country, every single one of them.
Look, I want to hit this because there are some Democrats, apparently at least a couple, who say it is time to end the shutdown. Let's hear from them. Let's watch.
I think we should. And what we have offered is let's pay TSA, let's pay FEMA, let's pay the National Guard, or I'm sorry, the Coast Guard, let's pay CISA. I'd even say let's pay Customs and Border Patrol. If we can't agree on ICE reforms, let's pay everybody else.
We have a ton of DHS folks, CBP, and so they are on the call and they are doing their jobs. Certainly, we need to fund the Department of Homeland Security, and we need, in my view, to cut away all the conversation on ICE, which is its own conversation.
I don't really understand how Democrats say, though, that they feel one way, but then they don't vote to reopen the government by backing the already negotiated in the House and passed bipartisan bill. Senator.
Harris, if they were sincere in what they were saying there, they would fund DHS, because ICE is already funded. It is not going to affect them. The goal is to open the border, to defund federal law enforcement, and to abolish ICE. That is their goal. And so they're saying one thing, but voting another way. And it is very disingenuous, and it is not fair to the people that work for the federal government, that work in the protective services like the Secret Service, that work in investigations like HSI, that work out here for storm recovery. It is just not right, and they need to stop it right now.
FEMA. All those people, we have 4 feet of snow in some areas after that big storm.
That's right.
I mean, look at Michigan, look at Wisconsin. FEMA, that's what I can think of today. Look, there's another test vote within hours from now. If and when that doesn't pass, I would assume we see the same scenario we did last week. We punt it into then the next week, 6 weeks. Yes or no?
That is right, and President Trump has continued to stay engaged in this, trying to get the Democrats off. You know, they keep moving the goalposts. And Harris, he keeps trying to offer and work with them, but they are putting illegal aliens, they're given to defunding law enforcement. They are just dug in on this, and it is so wrong.
They didn't win on that last time, which is why both chambers in the White House have a Republican at the top. Okay.
That's right.
Republicans at the top, I should say. Good to see you, Senator. Thank you.
You got it.
Liberal leaders allow an adult illegal immigrant to attend high school. He is now facing assault and battery charges. Parents say he groped female classmates, actual children, over the course of months. This is sparking more backlash for those far left Democrat policies. Sanctuary, who's being protected here? The criminals? Yes. Plus, a historic blizzard affecting millions. I was just talking about this. Michigan, more than 3 feet of snow, forecasts up to 4.